For financial institutions, which is better? Is it Ripple Day or Swift GPI? Liquidity, quickness, and cost savings. We're going to discuss it. I want to play this clip as well. This is the head of Ripple's U.S. government and policy discussing the issues at hand. We now have more and new information on partnerships with Ripple. In this video, we will discuss some fresh information. XRP at all times. I hope you had an amazing weekend, XRP Army. I really appreciate you being here. Let's get started with the facts and news. I have a lot of optimism for Ripple and the cryptocurrency space in general. Additionally, as I indicated, with the FTX scandal behind us, there is an increasing favorable attention on cryptocurrency both nationally and in the Beltway. A bright future will be demonstrated by the growing acceptance and involvement of cryptocurrency by consumers, investors, and policymakers, as well as by Ripple's recent triumph in the SEC litigation resolution and the stablecoin launch to demonstrate our dedication to innovation. Not only for Ripple but also for the industry as a whole. And I can't wait to see what the pike will bring. We have been saying for years that we are almost there, and we will get there eventually. That's a true statement then. In the US, regulation won't happen for a few months. The actions have already been taken by jurisdictions worldwide. In many of the world's largest economies, regulation is in place. The era of tokenization has arrived. At unknown or unheard of numbers, value will begin to flow on the chain. The rest of the world will begin to realize that the digital asset ecosystem is where the new payment rails are located. And they'll say, dude, my friend who told me about XRP or HBR was correct all along. I assumed they were merely viewing some bizarre YouTube videos. I didn't think it was true. I missed it. Oh my God, I lost the chance. How many of those discussions do you anticipate having? Not that I'm particularly looking forward to it, but I've probably told my friend about XRP 100 times. He has also never purchased XRP. At this time, XRP was worth 30 cents. I said, dude, just buy a couple $1,000s of XRP and put it in your daughter's cold wallet. With any luck, it will cover everything when she turns 18. Didn't want to do it and ignored me. Furthermore, we'll be able to see his emotional state in a few years. Quick payments using Ripple and GPI. Come on, let's play. Swift refused to upgrade, therefore Ripple had to coerce them into doing so. The money was not something they wanted to spend. This system has been effective for 50 years, they say. Nothing needs to be updated. Correct, or assumed without question by Swift. They have been advancing the field of payment processing by employing various methods to address long-standing problems. I want to start by discussing the infrastructure and technology. Even while Swift launched the GPI tracker, which offers excellent visibility in cross-border payments, it still uses outdated infrastructure and isn't as revolutionary as blockchain-based payments. That's the ILP in Ripple. However, in terms of framework scalability, the blockchain area isn't a proven platform. The processing time is the next item on my list of topics to discuss. Therefore, Swift GPI guarantees payments in a 24-hour period or within 30 minutes. On the other hand, simply observe how the pressing time differs. Payment finality is confirmed in a matter of seconds according to Ripple's payment processing protocols. Therefore, there is a significant difference in terms of pressing time. With over 11,000 institutions in its network, Swift still has the advantage of being the biggest payment processing network when it comes to adoption. Swift GPI is a significant advancement in payment processing standards for speed, security, and transparency. However, only a small number of enterprises or institutions use Ripple. About 45F is had according to what I could find online. Okay, just so you know, this is from 2019. Since I hadn't watched the movie contrasting Swift and Ripple, I wanted to acquire some current information, but I also thought it was intriguing. That's what led me to do the study I did and how I ended myself here. You understand that I intended to compare Swift to Ripple and RippleNet. Here is that information then. When it comes to international value transfers, RippleNet is typically quicker, less expensive, and more technologically advanced than Swift GPI. The decision could be influenced by the particular rules and laws that apply to various institutions. The speed comparison is seen here. 90% of cross-border transactions are finished in less than 10 seconds thanks to RippleNets, which settles them in 3 to 5 seconds. Thus, 90% of all RippleNet payments are made in less than 10 seconds. Since 96% of transactions settle in less than a day and many can be completed in a day, Swift GPI outperforms standard Swift. 96% of these payments settle in a single day. However, depending on the banking hours and intermediaries, some may still take 2 working days. The entire process using Swift's old infrastructure can take anything from 36 to 96 hours, isn't going to be utilized as frequently, so it's simply not possible. These are all the terrifying tales your buddies have told you regarding money transfers. It's kind of the end of this. Cost effectiveness, RippleNet transactions, Ripple corridors usually charge about 0.3 in overall expenses, and the average fees are 0.02 cents each payment. With an intermediary and conversion fees that can range from 3 to 7%, transactions cost between $26 and $50 per transfer. Alright, so you can cut the price by 10 to 20 times or possibly even more by moving to Ripple's on-demand liquidity. International financial institutions save hundreds of millions of dollars a year on the transaction value for lower-income destinations. I'll ask that question again. I'll say it again. By removing the requirement for pre-funding accounts and utilizing Ripple's on-demand liquidity, international financial institutions save hundreds of millions of dollars per year. You can therefore remove Nostro, Vostro accounts, retrieve all of that stale money and use it wisely, in addition to receiving the payments there in 10 seconds. Additionally, you save hundreds of millions of dollars annually. We're going to stick with SWIFT, notwithstanding what the bank boss isn't saying. Will SWIFT be with us? Wait, who is footing the bill? The additional $100 million is being paid for by whom? Yes, we are. We're moving to Ripple. Oh no, correct. That's the discussion. You'd be insane as you would be. At a family dinner, for example, you may hear someone say something completely out of the ordinary, and you may ask yourself, what are you doing? Isn't that similar to the boardroom? No, we will remain with SWIFT. Everyone is impressed by technology and its worldwide reach. RippleNet is active in 110 countries, supports 40 currencies, has over 300 global partners, and runs around the clock every day of the year. With 200 countries under its network, SWIFT facilitates high-value interbank transfers for 11,000 institutions. By utilizing blockchain technology and cryptographic consensus, RippleNet guarantees strong security, openness, and real-time tracking. Have you examined SWIFT GPI's payment process and how it differs from Ripple? The other day, I demonstrated how a Ripple payment appears, and it's really neat. Correct. Someone from Silicon Valley was responsible for that, because it just makes sense. Everything has a place. You may find all the information you require on a single screen. SWIFT becomes really complex. These back screens are everywhere, and it's like, dude, what are we doing here? After that, I also wanted to examine some other expenses. We discussed normal expenses. For lower income locations, SWIFT GPI fees often range from 10 to 50 per transaction. The entire cost, which includes hidden fees and intermediary conversion, I'd love to hear that, may increase to 7.1% of the total amount of the transaction. If you send 100, a 7 disappears, 1,000 disappears, 7 disappears, and so on. You're transferring $1 million, correct? When 70,000 is gone, things start to spiral out of control. You can transmit the payment for pennies, so why would you do any of that? Moving forward just doesn't make sense. If you find anything useful, please like, share, and comment below. I recently created a course to help XRP novices, intermediates, and specialists better grasp the XRP ledger and how it affects the business. There is a link in the description if you would like to receive that course for free. After completing the course, kindly let me know your thoughts.